rebounded in a major way from the disappointment of last year, where they went from preseason #1 to out of the tournament. Pittsburgh won both meetings a year ago, and the Panthers have taken 5 of the last 6. And Pitt wins the tip. Ted Valentine, Lee Cassell, Brian O'Connell are officials as the Panthers control the home whites. Here's Guillermo Diaz-Graham making another start into the Pittsburgh lineup for his 4th start of the year, and Armando Bacot draped all over him. Blake Hinson now, the Panthers' leading scorer. 3rd leading scorer in the ACC. Will kick it to Diaz-Graham, who misses a 3, and the rebound to Harrison Ingram, the Stanford transfer for North Carolina.
Strong defensive stand for the Tar Heels early. When you play against North Carolina, you've got to be used to their transition. They run after makes and misses. That time, Guillermo up with a challenge at the rim.
Block shot on Cormac Ryan, and the jumper's good for Mitch Leggett. You see the starting 5 for Pitt. Leggett and Austin, 2 impact transfers for the Panthers. A Pitt team 9-4, which has dropped its first 2 ACC games, and they are desperate for a marquee win. Carolina starting 5 you saw a moment ago. This is Cormac Ryan, the grad transfer from Notre Dame. On the floor with Ingram, Bacot, the freshman Elliott Cadeau, and R.J. Davis. And the Heels have 2 empty trips to start.
Well, Ryan shooting 29% from 3, and you can see early what Jeff Capel was willing to give on the defensive end. He does not want Davis or Bacot getting those looks.
There's Leggett around Bacot, a left-hand scorer. And Ishmael Leggett, the Rhode Island transfer, with the first 2 Pitt buckets.
And Leggett off to a great start. He gives Jeff Capel that experience in the backcourt to go alongside the super freshman we talked about in Carrington.
So North Carolina team leading the ACC in scoring, 86.3 points per game. And here is Davis, their leading scorer. An open floater around and out. And no offensive rebounds so far for Carolina as Leggett controls for the Panthers.
This is the start that Jeff Capel was looking for. Of course, when you're at home, you're going to have the energy behind you as Carrington lines up a 3, unable to knock it down. But it's been good offense thus far for the Panthers.
Davis, the leading scorer in the ACC at 21.6 a game. Veteran Leggett draws the defensive assignment onto him early. Now it's Carrington, the freshman, at 6'5". It is a very long Pitt team, one of the tallest teams in college basketball.
And one of the best defensive teams in the ACC. You have to mention 2nd in scoring defense.
Ingram went for 2 there, and Diaz-Graham could not keep it in. But look, North Carolina, an 86-point-per-game team under Hubert Davis, who has really put this team in a good position offensively. They scored 105 in their last game against Charleston Southern. Though they played a tough schedule, as you mentioned, this is going to be one of their tougher assignments in terms of defensive opponents this year.
Absolutely, and you think about having to deal with these North Carolina Tar Heels for the Panthers. Jeff Capel talked about transition defense. That's the most important thing when you're playing against North Carolina. By the way, Hubert Davis has yet to beat Jeff Capel in a coaching matchup in their young careers thus far. 0-3 against Jeff Capel. Pitt has been the thorn in the side of the Tar Heels as of late.
On the miss from Ryan, Carolina is 0 for 6. Ingram guards Hinson, the ACC's 3rd leading scorer, and Ingram stuffs his shot out of bounds with 11 to shoot. There is the aforementioned Jeff Capel, who is a game under 500 at Pitt, 84 and 85, but last year Panthers' first winning season since 2016 at 24 and 12. They have the metrics, they have the numbers, the look of an NCAA tournament team early, but they do not have a signature win yet. Tonight would certainly qualify. Carrington, 3 to shoot. Left it long, didn't hit the rim, and that'll be a shot clock violation.
And when you think about North Carolina, very rarely would you find a game where they have been over 3 minutes and haven't scored, over 6 from the field to start this game for Hubert Davis's team, who's coming in with a tremendous amount of momentum. As you mentioned, a 45-point victory over Charleston Southern their last time out.
It's the largest margin of victory in Hubert Davis's 3 years. Ingram clanks a 3. Carrington's got the rebound. It's 7 consecutive Carolina misses. And Blake Hinson with a push off there against Cadeau will be dinged for the game's first foul.
But give Cadeau a lot of credit for trying to fight around a much taller Hinson. And you see Hinson extending that left forearm, catching Cadeau in the mouth, but it's the battle and the fight from Cadeau that allows him to get that turnover.
Cadeau, the freshman who classified up a year after some personnel losses in the offseason. That was last touched by Bacot. That's the first Carolina turnover. And we're now closing in on nearly 4 minutes without a Carolina point.
But Federico coming into the game had a huge game and a tremendous impact against North Carolina in the win for the Panthers here last year. Jeff Capel looking to get the production back from him.
Federico just had the ball 33 in white for Pitt. Big man off the bench. Had 7 blocks in those 2 wins against the Heels last year. He'll take it now, and he'll throw it away. Hinson recovers with 5 to shoot. He's got the smaller Davis on him. He elevates, and he cannot finish. Bacot with a Carolina rebound. Right now, Ingram and Ryan have taken 6 of UNC's first 7 shots. Bacot has not taken a shot. Davis just 1. This is R.J. Davis, determined to get his shot, but Austin with a high-flying rejection, and the Pitt defense with 3 blocks in the opening segment of the game.
Zach Austin making his presence felt on the defensive end, going way above to block the shot, and where their first media timeout, North Carolina still scoreless.
Came out of it in a pretty good position. They put up 100 on Tennessee, one of the best defensive teams in the country. The big win over Oklahoma. They were the first team to beat OU, and they're 9-3, and they certainly look, Corey, like a much more connected team than last year as Blake Hinson misses a 3.
Well, right now they look like a team that's playing their first true road game of the season, and this is the first time in 70 years that North Carolina has started its road schedule in January. So you think about that, and this is the first true road game for Elliot Cadeau.
Jalen Withers, a Louisville transfer, misses a 3. North Carolina has started missing its first 9 shots. Pitt has not scored in about 3.5 minutes either. Carrington will end that, going high off the glass.
And the first person outside of Ishmael Leggett to score in this game. Leggett had both buckets already for Pittsburgh. Now Carrington getting involved in the act.
Here's Ingram, the Stanford transfer, who scored in double figures in every game. 55 against 55. Austin bodies him well. Ingram is 0 for 4. The Heels are 0 for 10. Leggett, out of all kinds of traffic, fed Austin. Extra pass, Carrington for Hinson. In and out for 3.
And a little too unselfish that time by Bub. He gave up a good look to get one to Hinson, who gets 2 for $1. Unable to knock that one down. But Blake Hinson, the 3rd leading scorer in the ACC, 5th leading scorer in the ACC, has gotten a number of good looks here early.
And he's 0 for 4 from 3, Hinson, as Davis throws it away. Federico with active hands. On the run out, Leggett passes up a 3. They're trying to post Davis. Carrington is all alone. Carrington misses a 3. My goodness. Pitt is 0 for 7 from deep.
I'm sure Jeff Capel wouldn't be concerned at all about being 0 for 7 as long as he's able to win by 6, which he is right now. If this game ended at 6-0, Jeff Capel would be just fine.
We'd have quite a story to tell our grandkids.
We absolutely would.
6-0. Davis will pull up 3. He got it. Of course it would be. R.J. Davis, about 6 minutes and 20 seconds into the game to get North Carolina's first points.
Would you ever imagine that North Carolina's first basket would cut the lead in half?
Federico up top, couldn't grab the lob. Ryan is there to pick it up for UNC. He didn't score in about 6.5 minutes, and now Katai with a 3. Instead, Davis will go in, and Bacot is there. His first shot attempt comes where so many of his do, on the offensive glass.
And that's where he is so dangerous, attacking the glass, leads the ACC in rebounding. Although Pitt is a better offensive rebounding team than North Carolina, better rebounding team in general in North Carolina, which you rarely hear.
Hinson again, 5th time's a charm.
Well, one thing's for certain, Blake Hinson's not going to stop. He understands his role on this team. He's the veteran. He told us today he's the old guy learning from these young guys, and they need him to be a leader.
Davis a pull-up pop for 2, and R.J. Davis has a couple of buckets.
Speaking of being a leader, how about the response from R.J. Davis? It's been Davis and Bacot with all 7 of the North Carolina points now as they start to find a rhythm on the offensive end.
Carolina scored on 3 straight possessions after an 0 for 10 start. Leggett driving around Bacot. Bacot's able to contest and knock it out of bounds with 12 to shoot.
So the scoring has picked up now that R.J. Davis has gotten in the mix. One-on-one, Jeff Capel talked about earlier, you're going to have to guard your yard when playing against R.J. Davis. And on these two possessions, he's won the battle, getting to the rim, unable to finish it. But Blake Henson responds with the big three, now 1 of 5 from beyond the arc, but that one extends the lead.
Substitutions for both teams right now. Jalen Lowe, the freshman who's handled the ball very well, is in for Pitt. Guillermo Diaz-Graham and his brother Jorge Diaz-Graham, the twins out of the Canary Islands, are both in.
And you found out interesting stat about the twins today?
Guillermo is the older of the twins, right?
He's
an inch taller and just slightly older. And there's a goaltender.
Jalen Washington coming off of a career-high 17 points and career-high 7 rebound effort against Charleston Southern into the game now. And he actually touched that basketball after it hit the glass on the way down as he gives Bacot a break. Hubert Davis starting to trust his bench a little more. Some of the younger guys starting to get involved in the action.
Washington, Seth Trimble, and Peyton Wojcik are in for Carolina, which will go 9 or 10 deep. Basket for Jalen Lowe makes it 11-7 Pitt. Davis splitting 2. Davis got the ball back, got hit, did not get fouled. Ted Valentine says clean block. Be the 4th Pittsburgh block of the game. Diaz-Graham with a 3.
And that's the advantage you have when you have the twins on the floor. Not 1, but 2 big men that can shoot the basketball, extending the defense of North Carolina and putting the post players in tough position to get out and defend the three-point line.
Washington, a good find. Withers hesitates, elevates, and scores a goal.
You can see the preparation that North Carolina's put in against the double team of the Panthers. Whenever one of their post players catches the basketball, Washington knew exactly where to look.
The first assist of the game, nearly 9 minutes in for the Tar Heels. Diaz-Graham for the same spot. Not the same result. Sophomore Seth Trimble will bring it up for UNC. Wojcik finds a cutting Davis. A lot of really good ball handlers for Hubert Davis in year 3 between Trimble, Cadeau, and Davis. It's Trimble who cuts, misses deep. Lowe emerges with a rebound.
But you can see how great a defensive rebounding team the Panthers are. Their leading rebounder, Ishmael Leggett, at 6.1 per game. It's a gang rebounding group. Everyone is involved with crashing the glass.
Leading rebounder at just 6'3", listed at 6'3".
Yeah, listed at 6'3". That's a generous 6'3".
William Jeffress getting some run for the first time. Backing down Trimble with some strength and shooting with some strength, but he got it back. Fresh 20 for Pitt. Jorge Diaz-Graham down the lane, ran right into Washington, got it back, couldn't finish short. 3 bites at the apple, and now Diaz-Graham is able to tie up Washington. A possession arrow to North Carolina, but Pitt fighting. The highest scoring team in the ACC, 86.2 points per game. The 6th highest scoring team at 80.5 points per game. Carolina and Pitt respectively. Tonight doesn't appear as if it'll get up into the 80s.
Well, that's because of how great defensively the Panthers are. When you think about this Pittsburgh Panthers team, they're 4th nationally in three-point field goal percentage, only allowing their opponents 25.3% from 3 and 39.7 overall. We already talked about their second to Virginia in scoring defense, so this is one of the better defensive teams you'll see in the ACC. And to this point, this game has gone in favor of the Panthers because they've controlled the pace and the way it's going to be played.
Obviously, the height makes Pittsburgh so tough defensively. What besides the raw height and length is good for them?
Well, they get after defensively on the perimeter with Leggett, with Carrington, with their guards. They do the job trying to keep other players out of the paint, but when they do get in the paint, they've got shot blockers as well.
And there hasn't been a paint touch in the first 20 seconds of this possession. And there won't be. Washington a 3, in and out. Rebound to Leggett, Pitt's leading rebounder on the season, picks up his 3rd of the game.
Washington can make that shot, 2 of 3 last time out. However, I believe that the Panthers will give him those in comparison to Davis.
Leggett bumped and fouled by Wojcik. The first foul of the game. 10:36 in against North Carolina. Following our game, it's Judah Mintz and Syracuse against Kyle Filipowski and 14th-ranked Duke, an ACC doubleheader here on ESPN at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Pitt team that just lost to Syracuse in the JMA Wireless Dome on Saturday. You think Syracuse has a shot in that game?
I do believe Syracuse has a shot in that game. When you've got Judah Mintz in your backcourt, you're always going to have a chance. And the way that Dark Copeland played the ACC's Player of the Week, I believe Syracuse absolutely has a chance on the road.
Syracuse's 3 leading scorers were off its bench Saturday. I don't know if that ever happened in the Jim Boeheim era. There's Trimble weaving in with a left hand. Nice finish by the sophomore from Wisconsin, Seth Trimble.
Seth Trimble also coming off career highs in points and rebounds. He and Jalen Washington both did that respectively the last time out. And Seth Trimble playing with a tremendous amount of confidence here now in his second year as a Tar Heel.
Diaz-Graham from Diaz-Graham. Little brother can't convert on the 3.
You've been waiting to say that, huh?
What's that? Can't convert on the 3? No, I want everybody to make that.
If I had to tell you what you said, then forget it.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't get it confirmed by how many minutes, though, he is the little brother, you know.
No, we didn't, but we did confirm.
We'll save that for the next pick.
Okay, we'll do that. But Seth Trimble attacking the paint is able to go against Guillermo Diaz-Graham and able to finish that with the left hand. Crafty by Seth Trimble, who I had to have a conversation with earlier today. You were a part of that. I watched Seth in practice a few weeks ago stand under the basket, go up vertically, dunk the ball backwards, and then he has the nerve to get out on a fast break and lay it up. I had to let him know how disappointed I was in his efforts. He told me he was going to make up for it tonight, so I'll be looking forward to that.
So if there's any fast break with Seth Trimble, get out of your seat and wait for something special to happen. Because he did promise it to you. I was there.
He did.
Harrison Ingram, 62% free throw shooter. He hits them both for his first points.
And just like that, we have a 1-point game. After all the struggles offensively for North Carolina to start this game, they find themselves within 1. And now they go to the pressure that Jeff Capel worked so much on with his team earlier, recognizing that this is the way that North Carolina gets back into games. They go with their full-court pressure, won them a game against Florida State to open ACC action.
It was the focal point of a 22-0 run to come back and beat the Seminoles in that game. Jalen Lowe matched up with Bacot briefly. Bacot back out against Diaz-Graham, who bricks another 3. And Pitt has been ice cold from deep.
Diaz-Graham hesitated on that 3, almost as though whether he was wondering whether he should take it or not. When you shoot the ball as well as he does, you have to take him.
Ingram misses a 3. Very good shooter from out there. North Carolina still yet to lead as we approach the 7.5-minute mark here in the first half.
We saw this matchup earlier in the first half. Henson got an offensive foul. This time Cadeau trying to fight the battle. Does a great job again.
Elliot Cadeau at 6'1", 180, holding up against the 6'8", 230 Hinson. That will send us to the under 8 with Blake Hinson unable to see through the headband.
Well, I believe Blake left it down for a reason. He was talking to Teddy.
Blake Hinson has de-blindfolded himself after this was the end of the play. The call was a kick against Elliot Cadeau out of bounds, or a kickball, reset the shot clock to 20, and Blake Hinson thought that there should be a foul somewhere in there.
But when you're going to switch defensively, as North Carolina is doing, you got to have guards that can stand up to a bigger guy, trying to post them up. Blake Hinson, for the second time, has tried to post Elliot Cadeau. Cadeau has won both those battles to this point.
Pitt is 0 for its last 7 from the field. Pitt is 0 for its last 8 from the field.
But its leading rebounder, Ishmael Leggett, at 6'3" listed height, gets in for an offensive rebound where the Panthers are second in the ACC, averaging over 13 offensive rebounds per game, and Leggett gives them another opportunity on the offensive end.
They lead the ACC in rebound margin, Pitt, plus 9.2. They haven't scored in 4 minutes, 26 seconds, but they still lead by 1 in this defensive slugfest. Leggett driving around Bacot, no. Bacot with a nice job to alter that shot from behind, and North Carolina looking for its first lead once more. And a foul on Federico before Bacot could take the shot. It's the 3rd foul against Pitt. North Carolina with only 1 in the game.
But with Federico on the floor, Most likely, Jeff Capel will allow him to play Bacot man-to-man, one-on-one. They will not double-team when he's on the floor, as Cormac Ryan's able to knock down the two in the corner.
The first lead of the game for UNC took over 13 minutes. It's an 8-0 North Carolina run. And a grad transfer, Cormac Ryan, scores his first bucket as Bacot cleans up that shot from Federico. Dribble on the run out, spinning high off the glass, and Federico boxes Bacot, tips the ball a leg it for Pitt. Carrington. A lot of contact at Carrington, tripped and fouled.
Armando Bacot does a great job not only playing center field on the screen and roll, but recovering and blocking the attempt of Federico at the rim. Bacot, an undervalued shot blocker, does a great job defending the rim for North Carolina, but showing off his defensive prowess with his ability to guard pick and roll as well.
And now consecutive fouls against UNC after they had just one. One's on Ingram, his first.
You know, one thing we talked with both coaches about today was the physicality that was going to be necessary for their team to be successful in this game. Jeff Capel made it clear that everything they did needed to be handled with physicality, and Hubert Davis told his team how physical Pitt was going to be, and they had to be able to match it.
Bacot, Henson taking it from the three-point line into the paint. A wild shot. And Bacot, once again, a defensive stopper as that ball is just thrown away by Cadeau on the bounce. But it did get a Pitt hand, it looks like, on the way down. So UNC to inbound. Tomorrow night, another big ACC game as 16th-ranked Clemson visits Miami at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on ESPN. Hurricanes are 10-2. The Tigers, one of the big surprise teams in the ACC, 11-1 with some great wins, including one here at Pitt.
Right now, the Clemson Tigers are the best team in the ACC.
Ahead of North Carolina.
Going ahead of North Carolina, going into an environment where Miami has played the last two games without Nigel Pack, and Wooga Poplar also injured on Friday in their game as P.J. Hall goes in. Maybe a little ahead of R.J. Davis as ACC Player of the Year right now as Federico gets a bucket against Bacot in the paint.
It's not going to be hard to find out, by the way, who is better, because this Saturday, Carolina goes to Clemson as part of 3 straight tough road games for UNC. There's a nice finish by Cadeau, and UNC is back on top after Federico snapped a 5-minute, 42-second scoring drought for Pittsburgh.
And love Cadeau attacking, being more than just a playmaker, of making sure teams have to be honest with guarding him when he's got the ball in his hand.
Cadeau trying to defend the 3 here as Carrington's off the mark. Ingram soaring in for the rebound. Ingram, who can do it all, takes the ball down the floor, finds Bacot for the jam.
Speaking of doing it all, Ingram with the rebound and making a play as well. But that's North Carolina basketball, not waiting for the defense to get set up, pushing it in transition, trying to get an easy look in the shot clock.
Federico, this time Bacot will be dinged for his first foul.
Harrison Ingram off the rebound is able to push and make a play, drawing 2 defenders in the easy dime to Bacot, who gets the flush. And just like that, North Carolina with a 3-point lead after struggling so mightily early to start this game.
Puts Armando Bacot at 1,991 career points, 7th all-time at Carolina, and 9 away from hitting the 2,000-point mark career.
We're on a couple watches on this one. We've got R.J. Davis, who is now tied Hubert Davis, I believe, for career 3-pointers at the University of North Carolina.
He's at 197, so he is tied as head coach for 9th. By the way, if you also are into round numbers, Zach Austin of Pitt is 7 away from 1,000 career. So some possible milestones tonight. Carrington. Pitt shooting it at 2 for 14 from 3, just 5 for 15 from 2. And look at Cadeau on the floor diving, but he is hit for the foul by Brian O'Connell, to Hubert Davis's dismay.
But I understand the call. Brian O'Connell right on top of it as you see Cadeau dives at the legs of Carrington. He's going after the basketball, but he does take out Carrington's leg, so I can completely understand that call. Hubert Davis doesn't want to hear it at this point.
Probably also doesn't want to hear it because it's 2 fouls in 12 seconds. Cadeau, who's been the Tar Heels' most active defender so far, has to take a seat. Hinson, he's got R.J. Davis on him. Hinson in the lane. Davis hits the deck. Hinson hits the bucket.
And interesting to see if there will be any type of flop call after that, as Davis tried to sell a call going to the basket.
Carrington trying to high point the rebound. Bacot throws it off his nape, and that is out of bounds. It'll be Carolina ball at the 3:40.
Coach, it's been a battle in the low post thus far throughout this game. And when you think about trying to get the basketball inside, that's the way you do it. You go up top to Seth Trimble, who had promised me he was going to have a highlight for me today, and Seth has delivered.
R.J. Davis with the assist. North Carolina with a lead of 3, which ties its largest of the game. They've only led for about 3 minutes. Did not score for the first 6:20 of the game as Diaz-Graham answers from low. Alley-oop after alley-oop.
Yeah, anything you can do, I can do better. Great job by the Panthers responding and not getting rattled by the highlight from Trimble.
Davis with 5, Bacot 4 for North Carolina. There's the post, true road game of the year.
The post being established, however, the trap is coming whenever Bacot gets it, especially without Federico on the floor. And a great job defensively by Carrington blocking the 3 of Davis.
That was off Diaz-Graham, but the officials may need to reset the shot clock here as this is the first alley-oop.
Great execution on the alley-oop as you find Seth Trimble, the elite athlete, above the rim, and on the other side, it's low to Diaz-Graham up top, back-to-back alley-oops for both these teams.
And the shot clock, which had gone to 30, is back to 6. There was no change of possession there. Cormac Ryan to inbound for North Carolina. Trimble, Davis, Ingram, Bacot on the floor. It's R.J. Davis. Now it's Trimble, 2 to shoot. Trimble a deep one. Buries it at the horn. What a spark off the bench for Seth Trimble with a 7-point first half.
He absolutely has been that. We talked about the confidence that he's playing with coming off of a career high. And with Cadeau picking up that second foul, Hubert Davis is very comfortable going to Trimble and allowing him to pick up those minutes.
It's got 4 starters and low on the floor. That pass is forced into Hinson, and a turnover for the Tar Heels. Just the 4th Pitt turnover of the game. Davis had brief daylight. He'll take it 3. Too strong. Rebound is tipped out to Carrington. 3-on-2 for Pitt. Carrington. Got it.
Great job by Carrington avoiding the contact as Trimble got back and got set. But in today's game, you have to be set so early to be able to take a charge. Carrington had more than enough time to be a jumper around it.
Want to feed Bacot. Hinson did a good job to deny that. Ingram will take it into him. Back out for Ryan at 3. It's a brick, and it's an offensive rebound. 1 dribble for Bacot and fouled on the way up. Armando Bacot will shoot just the 3rd and 4th UNC free throws.
Carlton Carrington avoiding the contact to be able to get the bucket on one end, but at the end of the shot clock, Seth Trimble recognizes it and steps up, knocks down a huge 3. It just shows off he's got Carolina blue ice in his veins.
The depth last year, it was really non-existent at times for UNC, and a player like Trimble's a big reason why this team has a higher ceiling. 10 minutes a game last year is a 1.8 point per game scorer. This year he's at 5.8 points per game. He's given them 16.5 minutes. Hubert Davis thinks he could be among the best defensive players in the country, too, and now you add an improved shot and improved scoring ability.
Yeah, he's made that sophomore leap, and that's one of the things that you want to see throughout your program, especially when you can keep guys and they're not transferring. You want to see them take that next jump so they can get more minutes and help your program win games.
2 free throws for Bacot. Man, look at this. Carrington was entangled with Trimble. Seth Trimble will be called for the foul. It's UNC 7th. 1-1 for Bub Carrington.
And right now, just some conversation between both teams as Carrington and Trimble get mixed up. And we talked about this game was going to be physical, coming in. The reason why the Panthers have won 5 of their last 6 matchups versus the Tar Heels, but that goes back expanding the end of Roy Williams' coaching career into the beginning of Hubert Davis's coaching career, is because the Panthers are physical. And again, North Carolina, oftentimes they want to play a finesse game, and Jeff Capel is just not going to allow that to happen.
Carrington's a good free throw shooter. You see the numbers as a team for Pitt are not good.
Yeah, that was the cause of the demise at Syracuse. The reason why they crumbled in the second half, 6 of 15 in the second half from the free throw line up there.
Federico will replace Guillermo Diaz-Graham.
I love the way the officials handled that scenario. No technical foul. Even though there was conversations, they kept everything under control. Cooler heads prevailed. And you go back to playing basketball. No one has to go sit down by getting a technical foul or whatever, but Jeff Capel also got Blake Henson out of the game to make sure that he didn't get in any more of an issue in this scenario.
Bacot goes right at Federico, and that shot is a little short. 80 seconds in the first half, which has been mostly led by Pitt. Panthers trail by 2 at home. Lowe off the glass, leans into tight.
Jalen Lowe is providing great minutes for the Panthers off the bench at that point guard position, moving Carrington off the ball. And he's playing well beyond his experience level as a freshman.
Leggett's on Davis, who gets a Bacot screen. Bumped by Leggett. He's on the floor with no foul. Leggett goes over the top, and UNC has the arrow and the tie-up with 13 to shoot. And Pitt continues to make R.J. Davis's life awfully uncomfortable.
And it's by design. We watched the shoot-around today. Jeff Capel said it plain and clear. This is the way we're going to guard him. We're going to make sure that we give him a tremendous amount of attention for someone else to have to beat us. But we're not going to allow R.J. Davis to get clean looks throughout this game.
Hubert Davis getting word from Ted Valentine, who, again, would not like to give anybody a technical foul in this game. He has operated with a little bit of leniency so far. Federico swats it into the hands of his head coach. Oakland Zoo rises on a night where you wouldn't think, based on the volume, that the students are on winter break. Trimble, 5 to shoot it. Trimble after the stumble. Around and out. Got his own miss. Trimble back up with it. Left it short, and then a foul. That's the 5th on Pitt. Is it on the floor or is it in the air? And it looks like 2 shots coming for Seth Trimble.
It's hard to put into words the impact that Trimble has had in this game for North Carolina. Already 7 points, an opportunity to put more on the board to become their leading scorer in this game thus far at the free throw line with 41.8 remaining. And you remember it was Trimble who got to the basket early with the left-hand layup against Diaz-Graham to kind of set the tone of, I'll be the guy that touches the paint for us. If no one else can get in the paint, I'll get in there.
Federico's second foul takes him out of the game. Bacot will get a breather as well, so he doesn't pick up a second. In the final 41.8. Team high 8 for Seth Trimble, who had a career-high 12 a few days ago against Charleston Southern, and he is just 3 points away from matching that career high.
And North Carolina, once again, goes to that pressure. It's more of a token pressure right now just to pick up 94 feet. And setting up the trap that will be part of what they do later.
Diaz-Graham into the young Washington, who hits the deck. And Diaz-Graham spins and stuffs it in off the glass.
That's a great job by Diaz-Graham, keeping his balance, even though there was a defender underneath.
North Carolina takes the use it or lose it timeout. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this game-tying spinorama from Guillermo Diaz-Graham.
So how was your day, Liz?
Just a normal day for us.
Pro Plan Sport, strength and stamina for life out here. Available at Tractor Supply.
When you walk up to the counter at the pharmacy and you have a new prescription, you don't know what it's going to cost. That's why I always recommend you check the Single Care app before you go to the counter.
I found a cheaper price with Single Care.
Yes, you did. See, give it a try. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
North Carolina has missed its last 5 for the field. Pitt has made its last 5. The last bucket for Guillermo Diaz-Graham, who has 7 points right now to lead the Panthers.
North Carolina has stayed in it at the free throw line. 6 of 6, perfect 6 of 6 from the free throw line for the Tar Heels. 2 of 2 for the Panthers, and that's been the reason why this game is tied after both teams struggle to start offensively. I won't say there's really been much of a rhythm offensively, but
Ted Valentine has had quite a rhythm with Hubert Davis, by the way. Spent a lot of time with him the last few minutes.
The Panthers will switch it up defensively, go to a zone here on this last possession.
Carolina led by Trimble with 9. Right now it's Cadeau running the point. Back in the game with those 2 fouls for the last possession. And Cadeau is fouled by Lowe. Pitt had a foul to give. Jalen Lowe picks up his first.
Now the Panthers will go back to their traditional man-to-man after getting a look at what it was the Tar Heels wanted to do.
Davis back for Cadeau, 3 to shoot. Back to Davis, a 3 at the horn, and he buries it! R.J. Davis struggled through a mightily tough first 20 minutes, but he puts
the Panthers, and you want to look to try to get him as many opportunities as you can, but you've also got to try to find a way to establish one of the ACC's leading scorers in Blake Henson, trying to get him some easy looks here in the second half.
Henson is 2 for 9, 1 for 6 from 3. He's got 5 points. The 19.5 point per game scorer, who is 3rd in the league in points per game. We'll try to get Henson a look here over Ingram. He misses a 3, and Harrison Ingram, boy, just 2 points in the half, pulls down his 7th rebound. Sets up R.J. Davis, who kicks off the second the way he commenced the first.
But that's the thing. Long rebounds lead to runouts. If North Carolina gets that rebound, they're looking to go in transition, and R.J. Davis is not going to wait for the defense to get set. 6
points his last 2 possessions after 5 points for about 19 minutes and 57 seconds. Henson again. He's got Cadeau on him. That shot is tipped, and a foul is called against Cadeau. Got him on the arm.
Ingram once again pushing it in transition. He has the ability to rebound and run. R.J. Davis knows that, so he finds the spot where his teammate can find him and knocks down the 3 ball.
It's the 3rd foul against Cadeau. And Hubert Davis, at the moment, is not called for a substitute. Blake Henson, just a 66% free throw shooter. He was 4 for 7 in the loss to Syracuse on Saturday, but he is an elite scorer, and in fact had a North Carolina football offer out of high school. We talked to Blake about that before the game. He said basically everybody but Alabama and Oregon recruited him to play football, including UNC, which said you can walk onto the basketball team if you want, but we really want you for football. It's about junior year in high school where Blake decided to go full tilt basketball. One of the reasons he told us, and I know you agree with this.
He told you.
You don't have to wear a helmet when you're playing basketball.
Yes, he told you this. I wasn't involved in that conversation. I wasn't.
You got involved right around that point, I think. Cadeau with a hard finish for 2 and could beat 3.
And Cadeau down right now. Took a hard hit. After the shot, Diaz-Graham falling on Cadeau. It was good to see him up on 2 feet as Cadeau gets out in transition, is fouled by Carrington. However, as Diaz-Graham comes across to try to block the shot, he goes down on Cadeau when he's down, and Cadeau trying to tighten up that left shoe. Normally that means something going on with the ankle, maybe a slight turn, but going to tough it out, stay on the floor.
Cannot complete the 3-point play.
You know, the only reason why there have been missed free throws in this second half is because you said no one's missed a free throw yet.
Yeah, but did I say that on the air? I think I said it off the air.
It doesn't matter. You said it to me.
Carlton Carrington hits a jumper. I've said a lot of things to you.
Yeah,
I get the feeling you've cataloged every other one.
I'm normally not listening to the things you say to me.
Just the things you could thank me for. That's thrown away by Cadeau.
But the mistake there, Cadeau has to throw that into the air. There are too many defenders in the midst. As we see Bub Carrington getting to the sweet spot, snaking the screen, and then using that 6'5" frame to elevate over the smaller Cadeau. And I keep calling him Bub. That's little Bub. Big Bub is in the stands watching. His dad, Carlton Carrington Sr.
Dad was a Baltimore AAU legend, Carlton Sr. Off the Austin miss, here's R.J. Davis. Tar Heels by 5 in a game they led just a few minutes in the first half. Ingram trying to contact. Ingram's miss is cleaned up by Cormac Ryan. Just his second made basket and 2 more second chance points for UNC.
And this is uncharacteristic for the Panthers. They've been great with their defensive rebounding percentage all season long, but North Carolina is a different challenge, as is Carlton Carrington is a different challenge as Cadeau picks up his 4th foul. As we see, that's Big Bub, my guy, Carlton Carrington Sr., checking out, as he would call his shouty, out here getting to work, knocking down the mid-range jumper with the foul, gets the bucket. Jason Capel right there to help him up and keep him away from any conversation. As we see Bub Carrington, who originally started Team Mello AAU back in the day, was the originator.
So that's a significant play. Not only the 3-point play for Lil Bub, but you see Cadeau grimacing on the bench. His 4th foul at the 17:51 mark. And Carolina calls on Trimble once more as the Heels find Bacot for an easy deuce.
And you would like to see North Carolina do more of that. Run some of their offense through Bacot. Give him a couple opportunities on the post, because you see the difference that it makes for Armando Bacot on the defensive end. When he's involved offensively, look at what he does defensively. A great job getting his hands in on the basketball, comes up with the steal and the presence of mind to call the timeout with Carolina up 6.
Super 16, and we're hoping to hear Dickie V's voice again on there, but he's doing much better. You, in fact, saw him pretty recently.
I got a chance to see my guy, hung out with him for a little bit, sat down and talked to him, got a chance to meet his daughter, son-in-law, granddaughter, everyone at the City of Palms, the 50th anniversary of the City of Palms Classic.
Bacot's shot is followed up by Ingram, who couldn't finish. That's out of bounds. It will go to Pittsburgh.
Harrison Ingram, who was 0 for 7 from the field, now 0 from 8, had a point-blank putback, just unable to get it to go, but it has not affected everything else for him. He's done all the other things his team has needed him to do, just unable to get the ball to go through the hoop here.
8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks for the Stanford transfer Ingram. The lead is 6 for Carolina, and Lowe cuts it to 4 with a sweet stroke.
I tell you what, Lowe is a good-looking freshman. This young man can play the game. When he comes into the game, he pushes Carrington to the scoring guard position, and he runs the show. 15 assists, only 2 turnovers in his last 5 games.
2 assists, no turnovers tonight. Davis crossing Leggett. There's a step back. Separation, that's all he needs. R.J. Davis with 13.
R.J. Davis is going to win most of the matchups he goes against one-on-one. You have to have help around to be able to defend him, or he's going to get the look he wants.
Low matched up with Ryan. Wild shot there. Bacot's the last to touch it. 14 to shoot for Pitt.
With this much room, R.J. Davis is often going to win this battle. You see the ability to go to the step back, one of the best in the college game of shooting off the bounce. But Lowe, using the screen and roll, gets to the mid-range, the pull-up, and that's one of the areas where Pittsburgh wants to attack North Carolina. They want to make sure that they put R.J. Davis into action to force him to be a defender.
Lowe again, bumped and fouled. Ryan and Trimble were both in there, and the foul will go against Trimble. North Carolina matching its largest lead of 6 here at Pittsburgh.
at the helm in Syracuse, and you look at the numbers for Judah Mintz, 19.2 per game, 3.8 assists, but the 2.2 steals that lead the ACC. He was close to the top of the list a season ago, but now playing man-to-man, showing off his defensive prowess.
Syracuse Duke, and we still have to get used to Adrian Autry versus John Shire, Syracuse versus Duke, after the retirement of two of the game's legends the last couple of years. Like Krzyzewski, Jim Boeheim, your partner, Jim Boeheim, a couple of times this year.
Coach Boeheim and I will be here in this building a week from today when Duke comes in to the Oakland Zoo to take on these Panthers.
Davis nearly had the dribble terminated against Leggett. He's able to keep upright, 10 to shoot. RJ's got 13. He's had it cooking in the second half, and his miss there is followed by Ingram, who's now 0 for 9 from the field.
But give Federico a lot of credit on that one, blocking that shot off of the offensive rebound.
Good energy off the bench for Federico. Lowe steps in and scores.
Lowe stays so poised, under control, even in the paint amongst the trees. He's still calm, cool, and collected and gets a bucket on that possession.
4 for 5, the freshman off the bench. The lead back down to 4. Davis feeds Ingram. Inside Bacot. Hesitates. Missed it. Ingram fighting again. Another offensive rebound for Carolina. Ryan will drive it. Somehow finds Davis, who gets tripped by Leggett with 5 to shoot.
Jalen Lowe attacking the rim, the up and under against a very good defender in Trimble. Gets Trimble in the air, steps through, and has the soft touch to be able to finish it off with the little midi in the paint. And now Jeff Capel going to take out both of his starting guards in Carrington as well as Leggett and allow Lowe to run the show with a much bigger lineup on the floor.
But Carrington might have taken a shot to the eye. He is on the bench. Diaz Graham, that's Jorge, and Zach Austin are back on the floor for Pitt. Jalen Withers replaces Ingram.
Lineup for Pitt.
It is turbo-sized.
Yeah, outside of Lowe, it's 6'7" and up.
Henson missed a 3. There's a foul away from the shot, and it's against Cormac Ryan.
And you mentioned what happened with Carrington as he gets involved, catches an elbow inadvertently from Armando Bacot on the way up. Gives the thumbs up over to the bench.
Not receiving attention, so maybe just a planned break in the action. It's a Pitt team that, I know it's early, but does not have a win outside of quadrants 3 and 4 right now. All 9 of their victories. Their best win may be on the road against a 5-8 West Virginia team. A major opportunity tonight against 8th-ranked North Carolina. Diaz Graham's fumble into the hands of Ryan. Runs the break into Henson, who goes straight up. Knocked out of bounds. Withers came in there. Looked like he was the last to touch it. He was indeed.
But I love the conversation between Lee Cassell and Ted Valentine. Both the officials getting involved. Cassell had a better look on it as Henson does a great job staying vertical. And the two officials coming together and determining that is Panthers basketball. Now North Carolina has missed 8 of his last 9 field goals as the Panthers have settled in defensively.
Lowe throws it away, looking for Federico. Bacot slaps it to Davis. And a whistle away from the action. Ted Valentine will call an off-the-ball foul. That's against Blake Hinson, his 3rd foul. And Blake Hinson's going to take a seat with 3 fouls at 13:45 and a half.
But you see the turnover numbers. North Carolina only had 5 last time out, averaging 10.2 turnovers per game. But the Panthers with 7, just a little better at only 10.1 a game. But 15 turnovers against Syracuse did them in, and they're leading that battle here today.
Carrington's return for Pitt. That ball is off the shoe of Jalen Withers. And right on cue, right as you talk about it,
I was wondering.
Carolina turns it over.
Hey, please don't tell Hubert Davis that, man.
No, you don't want to get any coaches mad at you this season.
I see what you did there.
Carrington off the screen. That's short for 3. Pitt is 2 for 17 now from deep. They haven't hit 1.5. Double team comes for Davis. Federico knocks it out of bounds with 19 to shoot.
It's a small thing, but if you're Bacot on that possession, you don't want to bring the screen all the way over to the sideline, because as you bring that additional defender, it makes it easy to trap R.J. Davis against that sideline, almost as though he has 3 defenders guarding him at that point.
That's where you want Bacot to screen. Davis bodied up by Carrington, still floats it in with the right hand, and R.J. Davis has 15.
We've been through this before, Kevin. That's not a floater. That's a shot. You saw the flick of the wrist.
Have we been through that before?
We have been through this before.
It's been a long
let's
time.
not let it happen again.
We haven't been through it this year, though. Austin from low. Another missed 3 for Pitt. 2 for 18 now. Bacot's got the rebound. How many of these threes are shots that Pitt should be taking?
Well, Pitt averages almost 10 made three-point field goals a game. So therefore, they're a good three-point shooting team. They should be taking these threes, but the reality behind it is they should be making these threes. When you look at the numbers, the 9.8 on the season, Jeff Capel is used to seeing his team come in and make threes. They're the leader in the ACC of three-point field goals made per game, so they should be taking them, but they're expected to make many more than they have tonight, only 2.
So as Washington gets fouled in the shot, so despite the numbers, you look up your Jeff Capel, it's 2 for 18. You're still encouraging your team to take those shots? Because a lot of them have been open looks.
You absolutely have to encourage your team to take those shots, and you want them to shoot the basketball with confidence. Talked with Jeff Capel about the free throw shooting woes prior to the game, and I asked him, do you mention it to your guys? He said, no, absolutely not. And I didn't think that he would, because once you start talking about it, it gets into that confidence.
Thursday night, a former North Carolina star guard, Caleb Love, who's had a great year for 10th-ranked Arizona. His Wildcats will host Colorado, which is a hot team. 6 straight wins. Buffs are 11-2. That's a good Pac-12 game, 9:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
We mentioned R.J. Davis coming into the game needing 1 three-pointer, 2 to pass Hubert Davis. Well, now he's 1 away from tying and 2 away from passing Caleb Love, who had 200 three-point field goals in his 3 seasons with the Tar Heels.
And there are the numbers for Love, who's upped his game with Arizona this season. That is safe to say. So far, that is a transfer that has worked out well for both Love and Davis, who both are anchoring top 10 teams.
I believe it has for both those guys. And oftentimes, it's just about a change of scenery. It's nothing against Caleb Love. There was an opportunity for him to move on and really get more of a command of the offense with the ball in his hands in Arizona. It's worked out for him, and it's worked out for North Carolina as well, with R.J. Davis stepping up and really being their guy on the perimeter.
Low for 3. Offensive rebound, Leggett. Washington spikes it from behind, and here's Trimble on the run out. Trimble, with that great first half, is fouled on his way to the basket. Carolina's piling up Pittsburgh fouls here, and Seth Trimble will shoot a pair.
And Seth Trimble, once again, and when you play against North Carolina, Jeff Capel mentioned it earlier, is simply about getting the job done in transition defensively. Jalen Washington coming in with the shot block from the rear, and then you think about Trimble getting the ball in his hands. He's not thinking anything other than find his way to the rim.
And Trimble's into double figures after a 9-point first half. This is the largest lead for UNC at 9. Jorge Diaz-Graham replaces Lowe for Pitt. Ingram takes over for Ryan for UNC. Seth Trimble, his brother J.P. Takoto is a heel, broke his high school scoring record, goes 1 for 2, and Withers with a tip out to Ingram.
Another offensive rebound for the Tar Heels. They have been dominant on the offensive glass, almost looking like the North Carolina of old, even though Pittsburgh is the better rebounding team thus far this season.
Carrington skies to get that one off the Davis miss. 14 offensive rebounds for UNC. Carrington bottoms from deep, a 3.
I'll tell you what, when Pitt needed it most, one of the 10 youngest players in the NCAA basketball and steps up and knocks down a 3-ball. And great defense by Diaz-Graham.
Leggett drives it. That's off the foot of Withers. It'll be Pitt ball. Bob Carrington starting to lead the way for Pitt. He's got 8 of his 14 in the second half.
And little Bub playing big here on his home floor. Although Pitt was only 2 of 19 from 3. For a team to get a win here in their first true road game of the season.
Last player to lead North Carolina in points in 8 straight games, Tyler Hansbrough, unsurprisingly, back in the 07-08 season. He's also the last Tar Heel to score 20 points in 8 straight games. R.J. Davis, 16 points per game last year. He's up near 22 right now, leading the ACC, 8th in the country, as North Carolina plays its first game of the new year. Blake Hinson back on the floor with 3 fouls for Pitt. Just 2 for 11 for the Panthers' leading scorer on the season. It's been this young man, Carlton Carrington, who airmails a 3 despite a game-high 14.
And Jeff Capel, not fazed, doesn't put his head down, just continues to coach his guys up. And one of the reasons for that, Jeff Capel actually came in as a shooting guard and played a lot of point guard as a freshman his freshman year at Duke. The full-time point guard that year would be one Hall of Famer Grant Hill, but Jeff Capel came in and replaced Bobby Hurley in the starting lineup in the 93-94 season.
As Ryan has space in the foul line extended, and Cormac Ryan, the Notre Dame transfer, up to 6 points. Some transfers that have infused this team with scoring and leadership and experience. Diaz-Graham's 3 is missed, and his brother Jorge goes over the back. And Jeff Capel thinks that's not what I wanted. Seven fouls against Pitt, so UNC will be in the bonus the rest of the way, as Jeff will talk it over with Ted Valentine.
But Jeff is talking to Ted about the fact that what's going on one end of the floor and then what's being called on the other end of the floor. As a coach, the only thing you ever ask for is consistency. And that's the one thing that Jeff Capel is looking for on this one, is to make sure that it gets called on the other end of the floor if it's going to be called against his guy.
Jalen Washington at the line, and Washington misses the front end, and that's an easy call on the other end of the floor. First foul on Washington, UNC 6th. It was right around this point in the game Saturday when Pitt had an 11-point lead slip away at Syracuse. They're going to need to do the reverse of that, come back from down deep in search of their first ACC win. Hinson went right into Davis, tried to draw contact. There was no foul, and it's an air ball for Blake Hinson, who's 2 for 12.
But Hinson on that possession created the contact. He created the contact on that one. R.J. Davis was in good legal guarding position. It was Hinson that created that contact. I love that no call, and allowing the guys to play on.
Ingram on the dump off Bacot. Waiting, finding Ryan. Ryan will get rid of it to Washington. Carolina with 7 to shoot midway through the second half. Ingram takes a bump, might have walked with it. Washington is stuffed. Shot clock hasn't reset, and Hinson emerges from the fray. Here's Diaz-Graham to Big Brother.
And Jorge Diaz-Graham at 6'11", able to make a play, catching it on the run. At most times, you don't throw it to a big guy in that position, but you can see his skill.
The slightly younger and slightly shorter the twins sets up his brother as Davis turns it over for UNC.
It's almost a no. You don't give it to the big guy running that fast, but Diaz-Graham is able to control it, more importantly, deliver a strike on the bounce pass to the older brother, who finishes off with the two-hand slam.
His twin brothers, who are at IMG Academy out of the Canary Islands in Spain. Guillermo has made the bigger impact this year, but they've given Pitt a major lift at times in their 2 years on campus. Carrington sets up Jorge. Way too strong. Guillermo's got the offensive rebound. Could not stick it in. And there's a foul before that shot. Brian O'Connell waves off the basket as Seth Trimble gets called for the foul before the shot. It's a 1-and-1 for Pitt. Trimble's third, UNC 7th.
But you see Jorge Diaz-Graham in the corner, unable to knock down the three. But big brother there to clean up the mess. Was unable to finish on the first one, but you see as that left arm wraps around Guillermo Diaz-Graham, that's when the foul is called. And so therefore there is no field goal attempt on that one. He's going to have to earn it at the free throw line where he's able to knock down the first one.
Jalen Lowe back in the game. Leggett gets a breather. Withers will take over for Trimble for UNC. Guillermo Diaz-Graham, 11 points per game in his last 5. He's at 10 now, and his shot is tracked down by Lowe. Sets up Hinson, in and out. And a foul against Pitt the other way. An authoritative thrust down the court from Ted Valentine. And Blake Hinson still just cannot find the stroke from 3.
And he got a great look off of an offensive rebound. Lowe does a great job locating his teammate, saving the basketball from going out of bounds. And Hinson got a great look. He's had a number of really good looks throughout this game, just hasn't been able to get it to go. Only 1 of 9 from beyond the three-point arc.
Bacot, a 78% foul shooter for 1-and-1. And he coolly drains it.
That's been a difference for North Carolina this season. It's the reason why they lead the ACC in free throw shooting, is because Armando Bacot has upped his game at the line. 76.5% for the Tar Heels. And third nationally in free throws made per game. Over 20 free throws made each and every time out.
Bacot's up to 10 points in the game. He's 3 away from 2,000 career in the lead. Balloons back to 7. Here's Guillermo. Bacot tightens him up, and it's Hinson again. Hinson still hunting his shot and still missing his shot. And there is another foul. And it's against North Carolina's Jalen Withers.
That's because Jorge Diaz-Graham attacking the offensive board. And we talked about this Panthers team. That's one of the ways that they've been successful on the offensive end, is when they miss shots, they go after them. Over 13 offensive rebounds per game, and that one gets them an opportunity to be able to get to the free throw line.
Hinson, after his latest missed 3, takes a seat. 1 for 10 from 3. Leggett replaces him.
That shot was forced, though. That was a I got to get myself going. It wasn't necessarily the best shot for the team.
Jorge misses a 1-and-1. Guillermo's on the deck. Ball is loose up against the Pitt sideline. Brian O'Connell's over there, and he will give it to North Carolina. Front ends of 1-and-1s really hurt Pitt. They missed 3 front ends of 1-and-1s. They were 11 for 24 in the loss at Syracuse Saturday, and they are just 5 for 9 at the free throw line tonight.
And when you think about what has happened with the Panthers in this second half, you go back to not the last 3, but the previous one by Hinson. Got a great look. They just haven't been able to knock down shots that they normally make, especially at the free throw line.
Bacot posting up. Here comes the double of Diaz's Graham. Back for Ryan. Bacot, he can shoot it from there. He doesn't typically do it. And Ryan trying to go over the back of Carrington. He'll be hit with a foul. So now it's basically a foul to possession fest here, and Carlton Carrington's going to get a 1-and-1.
But you have to go to the free throw line and take care of business there. It's only a 7-point game right now. Low Bub has an opportunity to make this a 5-point game if he can take care of his business at the line. But as you mentioned, back-to-back front ends of 1-and-1s that have cost the Panthers points at the free throw line.
Third foul on Ryan. And Carrington will get the front end here. There's his dad. There's Bub, Big Bub, Bub
He's
Senior.
just Bub.
He's just Bub.
Yeah, that's just Bub. Lil Bub is at the free throw line.
When you're the originator, you don't need any extra body.
We'll have to call him Big Bub. That was a singer back in the day. You don't know anything
Big
about
Bub?
that. Yes.
Love Big Bub, yeah. I play on Spotify all the time. Little Bub's 5 for 5 at the line. The lead is back down to 5 with 8 minutes to go. Pittsburgh has not led in the second half. The Panthers, who swept the Tar Heels last year, hoping for some more late-game magic against Carolina's blue. Ingram finds a cutter. It's Withers. He is stuffed and fouled by Diaz-Graham. And the Oakland Zoo is just about ready to lose its top. Was this a foul? You be the judge.
The nice find from Ingram to Withers cutting across the baseline. And yes,
I think
that's a foul. It's contact. It's a foul.
Leads the ACC at 3.5 three-pointers made per game. 1 for 10 from 3 today, and it's been a season of major streakiness. He had a 5-game stretch where he went 26 of 41 from 3. That's 63%. The last 3 games, this is 2 for 21. There is a degree to which, though, if you're Pitt, you have to live with that, right? Because he's your guy. He is your shot maker, and sometimes it's just not going to be his night.
He absolutely is your guy. He's your shot maker, and even when it's not his night, he still has to shoot it. And so, therefore, Jeff Capel giving him a breather right now, but we're going to see Blake Hinson back in this game with, a little under 8 minutes remaining. He's still going to have an impact on this game. It just can't be all about his shooting. He can't rely on trying to get himself going. It's about trying to get the team a win.
Pitt's 1 for its last 8. Carrington leads away with 16. Guillermo Diaz-Graham with 10. The rest of the team just 20 combined. And here's Carrington, who draws yet another foul. That puts the Panthers in the double bonus the rest of the way with 7.5 to go. Cormac Ryan picks up his 4th.
And Carrington backing down, gets away with a little bit of a chicken wing on that possession, getting to the rim, and now gets to the free throw line where he's been the guy for the Panthers at the line. Perfect for him thus far on the evening.
Any follow-up comment you'd like to make to that?
No, I'm done.
That's it.
That normally doesn't happen to me.
I know.
That's normally, a Kevin Brown thing.
I know, that's why I was silent. I was so delighted. Not happy that he missed it. I'm just delighted for you. Carrington goes 1 for 2. He's 6 for 7 today. Double figures 12 of the first 14 games of his college career. And Pitt, which is 3 for 25 from 3, is still somehow only down 6. Here's Ingram. 0 for 10 of the game and dribbles away from a double team. He'll get it again, this time singled up with Carrington. Ingram spinning into Diaz-Graham. It's off the side of the backboard. It's Carolina ball with 10 to shoot, having been last touched by Diaz-Graham. R.J. Davis hasn't scored in a while for UNC. Tar Heels have not hit a field goal in their last 3 minutes and 40 seconds. They've lived at the line in that span. Maybe they can get Davis going here. On the dribble, into Bacot. Bacot missed it. Withers did not. A high-flying jam for the Louisville transfer, Jalen Withers.
But that was a great job by Withers, just hanging around in the air until the ball came off of the cylinder to be able to put it back in comparison to touching it as soon as he got above the rim.
And 5 impact transfers for Carolina. The first-year Tar Heel from Louisville. And Ingram will pick up his 14th rebound off the Carrington miss. So despite the dreadful shooting night, Ingram has done everything else really well. 12 rebounds, 3 assists, no turnovers, couple of blocks. This is Withers again, and he's hit in the face. No, it'll be an offensive foul against Withers. Ted Valentine says he created the contact into Diaz-Graham.
But he created the contact with the rim also on the last possession. Off of the Bacot miss, you'll see Withers come in and hold back for a second. He wanted to go with the right hand, but gave the basketball time to come off the rim, so he dunked it with the left. The presence of mind to know that he couldn't touch it at first, but still was able to finish it up.
So Trimble replaces him after Withers' 3rd foul. And Hinson returns for Pitt. Check back into the 6:20 mark. Bacot blocks low. Armando Bacot with his 3rd block and Carolina's 7th.
And this game has been played at Pittsburgh's pace. However, North Carolina has stood the test of the physical nature of this game, and right now hold an 8-point lead with 6 minutes remaining.
Diaz-Graham, the shot fake. Bacot high out to guard him. Diaz-Graham swims inside, couldn't finish. He's slow to get back, so Carolina's got a 5-on-4 here. Ingram runs the floor and finally hits his first field goal after 11 consecutive misses. The Tar Heel bench is fired up for Ingram, and a Pitt timeout, a 30-second one here at the Pete with UNC up 10. Up the slack with his rebounding, with his passing, and finally he's rewarded with a hoop.
But you remember Diaz-Graham went down, and you mentioned was slow getting back. R.J. Davis a great job recognizing Ingram running alone down the middle of the lane, is able to get a bucket to go, and of course a couple of chest bumps and congratulations from his teammates to be able to get his first field goal of the game.
10.5 point per game scorer both years at Stanford. He was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, though, despite that relatively low-scoring number, because he can do everything on a court pretty well. Carolina has not trailed in the second half, and the Tar Heels, who didn't score for the first 6:20 of the game, lead by 10. Carrington, a wild shot, guarded straight up by Trimble. And another outstanding defensive possession for UNC.
And the clock has not reset. The Carolina bench up, alerting the officials. The shot clock said 7 seconds before Carolina even got it across half court.
Now it says 2. So that's not quite right either. Now it says 22. Pick a number, any number. Now we're going to go with 22.
See, Hubert going with the blazer, the sports coat, and the button-up. The rest of the staff still wearing the pullovers.
Big fan of the blazer. A little class to start 2024. Hinson, yes. His 3rd made field goal. Blake Hinson gets an easy bucket. Maybe that will ignite his game.
Well, and a smart decision by Carrington getting to the front of the rim. However, knowing that he didn't have an advantage, waiting on Hinson to be able to follow him up and get the easy layup.
Ingram backing down Carrington. Trimble with 8 to shoot. Davis got a quiet stretch of late. Knocked away out of a double team. Diaz-Graham knocks it off of Trimble. And it's a North Carolina turnover, their 9th.
And that was a classic trap when you go into coffin corner. 2 defenders from the Panthers do a great job, hands up, staying vertical, forcing the tough pass. Diaz-Graham gets out, get a hand in the passing lane, forcing the basketball off of Trimble.
Diaz-Graham fakes a 3 again, blows on the floor. He's had a nice second half. He'll have a chance to pick up 2 more. The foul, R.J. Davis is first. Jalen Lowe only 6 for 8 at the line this year. His 9th free throw attempt of the season will go down. Thursday, it's an ACC women's basketball doubleheader on the ACC network. Starts right here at the Pete. Panthers hosting 16th ranked Notre Dame. And Duke against number 17 Louisville. Pitt's going to have to contend with the ACC's leading scorer in that one, Hannah Hidalgo, at 25 a game. Those games both on ACC Network and the ESPN app.
Hidalgo is a problem. I watched her first game ever where she went for 30 against South Carolina in Paris. Must-see TV.
Lead back to 6 here. Ingram has an open 3. And Ingram finds his shot. His first 3-pointer of the game, and it stretches the lead back to 9.
Amazing what a layup will do for your confidence. We saw it work for Ingram. Let's see if it works for Blake Hinson on this end.
Just the 5th made 3 by UNC. Diaz-Graham does not have what would have been the 4th made 3 for Pitt. A long save out to Bacot. Gets it back from Trimble, and Bacot stuffs it. He's at 1,999 career points now, and North Carolina has quickly pushed the lead back to 11. They're threatening to put this game on ice here with 5 quick points. And they are all over the ball right now with 10 to shoot for low. The freshman steps back. Missed it. Rebound. Bacot and Ingram were there together. Nearly was a mess, and then Bacot throws it off.
In the studio, Syracuse Duke is going to start on ESPN News. Coach Tyrese Proctor back after missing 4 weeks the other night.
4 weeks, but coming back, scoring 9 points, 4 rebounds. And in his absence, Jared McCain's been absolutely terrific, averaging 20 points a game in that time period.
It'll be on ESPN News in moments.
Guys, a Duke team that was picked to win the ACC. North Carolina picked a couple of spots behind them in the preseason poll. And right now, North Carolina trying to get to 2-0 in the league. They beat Florida State at home a couple of weeks ago, back when you had that floating first ACC game. But conference play is really well and truly underway now. It is all ACC from here on out until the NCAA tournament. Davis is tied up. North Carolina has the arrow with 20 to shoot. RJ Davis hasn't scored, Corey, in the last 10 minutes and 7 seconds, and yet Carolina's +5 in that span. How have they done it?
They've been able to get some contributions from other guys. Harrison Ingram scoring 5 points in that stretch, getting the layup off of the Davis feed, and then the confidence to knock down that 3. And Armando Bacot getting involved in the scoring as well.
And with 7 to shoot, Bacot is bumped by Federico, a foul away from the ball, deep in the shot clock. Federico's 4th, and Bacot will shoot 2. So Armando Bacot to the free throw line on 1,999 career points. And there is the big round number. Armando Bacot becomes the 7th player at North Carolina to reach the 2,000-point mark.
Okay, so now here's the question.
I know where you're going with this.
No, you don't. You think I'm going to talk about the asterisks, and I'm not. I'm not going to talk about that because that's my boy. But RJ Davis moves up on the 3-point list. Who gets the game ball?
I knew that was going to be your question.
You knew that was going to be the question?
That's a good question.
No.
Yeah, it's like
Bacot gets that game ball.
It's like a Giannis scores 70, Oscar Tshiebwe gets his first point conundrum. Real Sophie's choice. I don't know. Bacot, right? He's got 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000 points. Armando absolutely gets that game ball. As long as they win for North Carolina, which they're in good shape right now, up 13 with 2:21 remaining.
And a 7-0 little spurt here for UNC, which has hit its last 4 shots for the field. Davis still their leading scorer with 15. Isolated with Lowe. He'll swing it out to Ingram for 3. That's way short. Ingram says it was tipped, but it doesn't matter now because Bacot stepped on the line with it.
There are a couple of streaks in play right now that could come to an end. We talked about RJ Davis with 8 straight 20-plus point games. He may not get there, although early in the second half we thought he was on the way there. And also Harrison Ingram has scored in double figures every game this season for North Carolina.
He's at 7. And Ted Valentine's got an offensive foul here against Jalen Lowe. It's another foul away from the ball by Pitt, which has racked up a ton of fouls in the second half. And Jeff Capel's team is going to drop, it appears, to 0-3 to start ACC play. He said on Saturday, I thought that Syracuse played with such energy and a sense of urgency. We didn't match it. We were weak. And they played with urgency and intensity at times tonight, but they just have not hit shots.
Yeah, that's really what it has been about for Pitt in this game. 3 of 26 from beyond the 3-point arc.
Carrington hits their 4th, and Jeff Capel takes Pittsburgh's 3rd timeout.
But now 4 of 27. And when you're a team that leads the ACC coming in with close to 10 3-point field goals made per game, it's hard to win when you're 4 for 27.
Here's what's on the docket for Pitt. They'll go to Louisville Saturday. Back-to-back, or 2 out of 3 games with Duke, so chances for some big wins there. I know it's January 2nd. I know we're still early to be talking about NCAA tournament stuff, but I bring that up just to say Pitt right now has a non-conference strength of schedule that was ranked 346. Their 9 wins are all against quad 3 and quad 4. They're a good team. They can get better. But we've seen teams, especially in this conference, left out with 20, 23 wins because of tough non-conference strength of schedules before. So Pitt, again, there's time left, but they need to start getting some good wins soon. And there's a chance for what you'd have to imagine would be a quad 1 win. And it looks like they're going to have to wait for that Duke game for the next opportunity.
The officials overlooking at the last shot by Bob Carrington to see if that was a 3, and his foot is behind the 3-point line, so that will be a 3. And to go back to your soliloquy that you went into before, I stopped listening when you said, I know it's January and it's too early to start talking about the NCAA tournament.
I know it's January, but Corey, you're a beautiful man.
It's January 2nd, by the way.
It's January 2nd.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, when the non-conference strength of schedule is that low, Jeff Capel doesn't care about that right now, right? He cares about beating North Carolina. But Pitt was an NCAA tournament team a year ago, and look, to state the obvious, they got to get some wins here soon.
They absolutely have to get wins, and I believe that that's something that Jeff Capel is very aware of. But one thing's for certain, you can't change the past. There's nothing he can do about the schedule that they played, because they had a lot of teams on the schedule that were supposed to be good that just haven't lived up to billing. You can't. There's nothing as a coach you can do about that. All you can do is coach the day. Try to win the day. And that is what they're trying to do here in this game against North Carolina, down now 11 and tough sledding ahead. But it's what they'll try to do Saturday, and then next Tuesday is just go out and try to win each and every game that they can. The chips will fall where they may, once we get to March.
Cormac Ryan hits 2. North Carolina 17 for 20 at the line today. Pitt just 10 for 15. Carrington's got a season-high 20 now, and he's too deep on a 3. Cormac Ryan has a rebound with a minute to play. Up ahead to R.J. Davis. He will feed Bacot, and Bacot will step into a dunk. And by the way, with that assist from R.J. Davis, he now falls into second for the game behind Bacot a point. So his streak of 8 straight games leading the Tar Heels in scoring may come to an end as Hitson finally hits a 3. R.J. Davis is not going to care one iota because Carolina is going to get out of here with a 2-0 start to ACC play. And
to your point, I can show you how little R.J. Davis cares. R.J. Davis, who shoots 95% from the free throw line, the all-time leading free throw percentage shooter at the University of North Carolina, and Cormac Ryan, who shoots 90%. Both of them are standing, to receive the inbounds pass. Ryan is yelling, here, here, here. R.J. Davis is standing there like, give it to him. I don't care. He's more concerned about the final score of this game, making sure the guys in Carolina blue win this game more so than he has any streaks, any numbers. It's simply about wins and losses.
Cormac Ryan at the free throw line, 4 for 4 today. He's the 4th Tar Heel in double figures. North Carolina is going to come out on top in its first true road game of the season. You mentioned the number earlier. It had been 70 years since it took this long in a season for Carolina to play its first true road game. Since 1954, the last time UNC didn't play a true road game until January. And Hubert Davis said after the Charleston Southern game, I think it's overrated. The basket's still the same. It took a little while for them to find that basket tonight. It took them 6 minutes and 20 seconds to score. But North Carolina gets out of Pittsburgh with a win. And Hubert Davis finally vanquishes Jeff Capel. After a Pitt sweep last season, it's all Tar Heels today. They do not trail in the second half. They win by 13 at the Pete. UNC is 2-0 in the ACC.